Morning all, how are we doing? Morning Stevie, Lada, Themba, Diamond, how are we doing? Happy Wednesday? What day of the week is it? I can never remember. All blurred and all rolled into one. I just put in the Telegram group, pounds just swept the highs of yesterday. Very fast move, 15 minutes straight up, just went, took it out and reacted very quick off the top there. Might be an exhaustion move, just to take that liquidity from yesterday before they run. We are very extended on this one. Pound US. Haven't really had a decent profit taken. We're kind of in an accumulation at the minute, so may have been last move. So I've just stuck another position on that. See if that comes down this morning. I've got a little DAX running as well, which I've just put on. It's a scalp, but I've got a scalp stop on it, 0.5%. What I'm looking at is this gap fill from yesterday. We had nothing but strength yesterday, so this is kind of a swing trade. It's going to be a nice big profit if it works out. But I think we've had 2 days up now on the DAX, and they're not just up days; they were huge moves to the upside. We've ever so slightly gapped down this morning from the close, and it's come back up and just sort of refilled that gap. So I'm just looking to see if we can get a down day. We may have the continuation. This may have been the pullback on the drop. I don't know, but these are certainly big up days. So they've done their profit takes if that was it. So I'm just seeing if we can get a down day in today, and if so, obviously it's going to be a nice big profit one. I'm just going to hold it, but I put a stop on it of 0.5% if it doesn't, because it may well fly. So, morning Jane, happy Yom Kippur, is it? Yom Kippur. Excuse me. So yeah, so watching that pound, see if that move was a liquidity grab. If so, we might be starting that move today. Just wanted to the other thing I've done this morning is put the EA on oil. So the EA, I've just stuck it on oil, long only. So just looking for long orders. I don't think I'm going to get a position on, but if it does come down gradually today, I've got a feeling we're going to get another push to the upside on it. It's very extended, oil. Let me just look in the one that you can actually see what's going on. We're very extended on the 4 hour on oil, but I get the feeling with OPEC today, they're going to try and pump oil. I reckon we're going to get up into this chop somewhere by the end of this year. It's going to be, I think this is probably the peak formation low, and I think we're going to start a move back up again. We are extended, and normally this is where I would obviously look to short it, but I've got a long bias on it, I think. Excuse me, I'm plugging my phone this morning. So if we get a drop down today, the EA is just going to get me into long positions. I did take a quick long this morning, which I just got out of. I didn't actually fancy being long all the way up here. We might get another up day, was my thoughts today. But I can't long it all the way up here. I get the feeling I'm probably being a bit optimistic. So if we get a pullback today of any kind, the EA is going to start a position on that for me. And I will obviously monitor it, but there is every chance I'm wrong on this, obviously. And we're coming back down into this area, which is where I was originally looking to buy. But these highs here on the daily are a pretty critical point. If we can break above those, I think we're off. And I think we're going to start reversing this trend. So I'm going to start a position on that, which I might regret. But if it is going up, and I think it probably will, based on what OPEC's doing, we should be all right. The EA that's running on the signal, this one, the IC markets one here, that's got out of all of that drawdown. Remember, we looked at this, was it last week, the week after, week before? I can't remember. But it was in some fairly heavy drawdown on that pound move. It's got out the lot, obviously, because the pound's reversed, and it's made a very tidy sum of money. So this is the signal that's been running. So 116% now in the last year. Probably exactly a year. Look. 52 weeks. There you go. So more than doubled the account, and that was the drawdown. 45%. So that was Ukraine, 48%. That was the pound collapse, 47%. But got out both. So that's what you're going to have if you get world-changing events happening. But they always undo themselves. Usually undo themselves. So yeah, that's doing really well. It's only got $300 in drawdown at the minute. We just got a pound US sell on. We've got a couple of pound US sells on and a euro US sell on. So yeah, doing pretty well. There's my one review. Look, by one person. What did he say? Nothing. Just gave me 1 star. Shame. I doubled an account in a year at 1 star. Rubbish. Anyway. So yeah, just thought I'd let you know, obviously it's got out of all of that. That's running, obviously, for anybody that doesn't know. This is just running to show people what the EA can do. It's one of a billion set file combinations you can have, but it's just running H1M5 strategy across however many pairs it's running on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 pairs. No, 12 pairs, sorry. Just to give it a good diversification. But anyway, just wanted to update you on that. Right, ADRs, etc. today. So we've got a couple of hits already. Aussie, New Zealand. So overnight news, we had the New Zealand dollar rate. They came out as expected on that, so they didn't follow Australia and rein it back. They are being sensible and have basically gone with the 0.5% increase, which is good. Their news basically. Are we there? They debated a 0.75 increase as well. So they are like most talking about, are we going fast enough to keep on top of inflation, which is good. Core consumer price inflation is excessive. Labour resources are in short supply. So it's pretty much the same as everybody else in the world at the minute. Monetary conditions need to tighten further until inflation is returned to the target range. So as with everybody else, they will be continuously increasing their rates as inflation continues to rise. And we will just keep going on that stance until we get on top of inflation, which means it's just obviously everybody's getting poorer, etc., etc. Japanese inflation, 52 on a previous of 51. So inflation increasing, which is pretty standard, as we know. OPEC is now discussing output cuts of 1.5 million barrels a day. It was 1 million barrels a day yesterday. So again, this is why I think we might get a run on oil today. When this is actually announced in the OPEC meeting today, OPEC is all day, we might get a run on oil. So I hit the buy button this morning on oil, and it went up a little bit, and I was just like, nah, I can't long it all the way. I can't long it up here. If it drops back down into this propulsion gap, the EA will get me in to a long. And if it comes down towards ADR for any reason today, the EA will get me into a long. I get the feeling we might just embed up here if they put that cut in place. I don't know, but we've got that to obviously consider today. So if you're in any oil, obviously today is going to be a volatile day with OPEC. We're likely to get some decent moves in one direction or the other today. more than likely it will be up. I don't think there's any other news overnight. There's just Bank of Japan stuff, bond purchase. They've just announced a load of bond purchase. Near-term risks include concerns about global slowdown. The economy is slowly recovering. So it's all fairly hawkish on the yen. We've got a load of... Well, that's a new currency strength chart. Oh, that's the yearly, that's why. New Zealand, weakest Swiss franc. Strongest New Zealand, weakest Swiss franc. What? What that means? That's not right. Yeah, anyway. So news today, we've got obviously non-farm employment change this afternoon, 1:15, ahead of the market open. So potentially get some decent volatility out of that. Quite often, though, that is doesn't really do an awful lot. We've got PMIs this afternoon on the US dollar, which is more likely to actually move stuff. So PMIs, you'll get some decent movement, especially on the indices. But we've got non-farm employment this afternoon. That's not non-farm payroll. Non-farm payroll's on Friday. But yeah, so we've got that coming out this afternoon. So there's a fair bit of volatility this afternoon. Oil prices will affect everything because people will, money gets moved around to invest in oil and commodities. So we might find there's a bit of volatility this afternoon. And tomorrow morning, we've got Kuroda speaking. So we may get some more monetary policy information coming out of Japan in the morning. So I've got a yen short on at the moment in the form of a euro. So I took 1 euro yen short yesterday, nicely extended on euro yen. That hasn't gone anywhere in the last 24 hours since I got into it. It's not gone anywhere at all overnight in Asia. So we're paused nicely up there. So I'm looking for an exit anywhere to the downside, really, on that. I'm not quite sure how long I want to hold this one for. But yeah, decent movements to the downside potentially overnight on the yen. So fair bit of news to watch out for today. Overnight ADRs, we've got Aussie, New Zealand. Obviously, the New Zealand rate came out as expected. And New Zealand's, we had a huge strength push on the New Zealand dollar pairs, but it kind of undid itself. If you look at the New Zealand dollar pairs, we just got an A-shaped recovery off of it straight away, straight return to origin. And then since then, obviously, we've had a little bit of a flourish. So that rate announcement on the New Zealand dollar, I think, will probably power it up short term. The inflation figures we haven't got. So whether or not that's enough to get on top of inflation, it's going to be positive, I don't know. But these New Zealand dollars are kind of mid-range on the RSIs. I was looking through them all this morning. There's no real opportunities to get into these long. And I don't like the look of that tail. So difficult one. We've got the reversal, obviously, on the 4 hour. So this could well be peak formation low, and we're going to start to move up on the New Zealand dollar pairs. But I kind of want to see some evidence of that. And that tail this morning off the news doesn't really give me a lot of confidence. So we will see. It could well push today, but difficult to tell. Aussies overnight didn't really do an awful lot off the back of the news. We got a little bit of volatility, as you usually will, because they're very closely tied, those pairs. But obviously, Aussie-New Zealand was the big ADR hit overnight. And that's already played out. You didn't really get an opportunity to get in on that because of the speed of the news. You would have got in there and you're not really anywhere further forward. So reversal of that was just too big off of the news to get in. That would have been a good entry down there, 125, but obviously you wouldn't have known that. So yeah, Aussie, New Zealand, nicely extended. We need to see which way that goes. New Zealand dollar CAD's the other one that got an extension and obviously pushed straight up to 125 ADR and came all the way back down again. So we'll see what happens with those, but there's nothing else overnight. These weeklies, pretty much everything is lit up on the weekly ranges. We've had lots of movement on the Swiss franc, on the Aussie, the New Zealand, the pound, the euro. You know, there's been a lot of movement this week, isn't there? And don't forget, a lot of these ADRs are actually out by quite a lot as well. So these moves that we've seen are on ADRs which are bigger than normal. So these are very strong moves. We've got a lot of volatility in the market at the minute. So there's a lot of opportunity on these. So we've got some 4-hour extensions as well. So I think the best thing to do is just whiz through all the pairs and have a look at them all on the 4-hour today. And just see if there's any opportunities to get into anything or anything that looks like it's in good spots. If there's any pairs anybody's got they want to have a look at, obviously let me know. The hourlies, we've got nothing on the 21 RSIs on the hourlies. We've got 114 on euro, US dollar this morning. Oops. That's just come out of the 21 extension. So, all these US dollars, everything's been pushing against the US dollars, kind of flagging and stalling at the minute. What's that pound doing? Yeah, it's coming down nicely. So that pound does look like that was a liquidity run this morning. I just took the liquidity, took the money, and they're off. So we might get a decent move down. Quite a few positions on this up here. I'm just looking to get in a little bit aggressive on this. I want to get out, basically, because I don't trust it. And we've got Liz Truss talking today in the conference, in the Conservative Party conference, not the Labour Party conference, as I said in the Telegram group. It was very early in the morning when I posted that. But yeah. So yeah, we might get some decent movement there. Let's just quickly look at the DAX. What's the DAX doing at the open? Not gone anywhere. Nice bearish engulfing at the open on the DAX. So there's your opening range. Straight back down. So if we can hold that opening range high and get a break to the downside, I think we might get a flush today. All the indices, let's start off with the indices. All the indices basically, yes, have had a very big day. So big couple of days. So obviously, as we know, yesterday we got a gap on the DAX, which didn't get filled. It basically opened yesterday, had a little bit of a wobble and then flew, and it didn't stop all day. Literally, it was the trend monster. I was looking for an opportunity to get into this yesterday, and I couldn't get in. Literally, I couldn't get in. I couldn't find a way into it at all. So obviously, this is the open down here. And literally from the open, we just went and it was off. And we had a little bit of a pullback and a push. Yeah, and I was looking for some kind of pullback to get into, and literally we didn't pull back. All we did was we went straight into an accumulation break. And then we got obviously there, and all the rest of the indices just did nothing for the rest of the day, but could not get in on it yesterday. I was looking for a way in to get in long, and I just couldn't find one. So I didn't actually trade it yesterday. I took one trade yesterday, which was the short gap fill, which obviously failed at the open. So that was the only trade I took yesterday, was that gap fill. But yeah, absolute monster moves on the indices yesterday. So they are very, very, very exhausted after that big 2-day push. Same thing on the NASDAQ, same thing on the S&P, and obviously the same thing on the Dow. So we've got a big 2-day push. I would expect today at least to get a pullback. If we're going to continue, which we could well, and very likely, we should at least get a pullback this morning. It's whether or not they will pull back enough to get that gap fill down on the DAX, which is very unlikely because it's an ADR. I don't think they're going to move down an ADR today. I really don't. But excuse me, we will see. At the moment, we're not going anywhere. We're just stuck. But longer term, obviously, we're still in the bear market, still in the downtrend. This is the support bounce that we're seeing at the moment, which is what I said, is likely to happen. And then I'll be looking for shorts up here. So I will build a short position on the indices when we get back up into the 2472 area. And yeah, I think we've still got a long way to go, but It's whether or not we're going to get up there. We'll see today. But yeah, very, very strong rally in the market. It's a new quarter. So it's new month, new quarter, obviously new week. So everything is pushing and rallying. We're coming into earnings season as well. Quarterly earnings season is upon us. So there's a lot of earnings going to start coming out, and we could see some big rallies in the market. And obviously that's what gives us these big, strong pushes up. So looks like we're on our way, but we'll see today. Obviously we always get pullbacks in these rallies though. So, even when we're going up, we'll have pullbacks in them. So yeah, as we do when we're coming down, obviously. So indices, be interested to see today, but certainly got some downside in them. Oil I've covered. Looking for longs on oil. We're stuck at the moment. I don't think we're going to get a lot of movement today until we get some announcements coming out of the OPEC meetings as to what they're doing with the barrel cuts. I suspect if they're looking at 1.5 million barrels, we're going to get a pump on oil. Excuse the pun. But I just can't long it from where it is. It's worth. I think it's worth a speculative long. If you wanted to, just get in now. Stop under there. If they are going to announce that cut when we do get that big push today, just get out somewhere around ADR, around those highs. By the time we get up there, obviously we're going to be very extended and it's likely to want to pull back. But the market may not react that way. This may be price. This move yesterday that we had, this may be pricing in that barrel cut. So we've done that move. And now we're just going to pull back and continue the push. So we'll see what happens today. But that's what I'm looking for today. Any kind of drop in oil, I'm going to start a long position. But I'm going to space them out very nicely and not get too aggressive like I did before on oil and had to get out just as it bounced. But hey. So yeah, that's oil. Let's look at the FX pairs. Let's look at the ADRs and the weeklies while we're looking at them. Euro, Swiss, and pound US dollar you want to look at. Yeah. Have a quick look at Euro Swiss now. So Euro Swiss, I've just got first position on that one, which I took yesterday. It's not gone anywhere yet. So yeah, I'm just in my first entry on that one. We're basically sideways. It's very nicely positioned. Up at the 72. So if we're going to continue our downtrend, these euros are very strong at the moment, but it should only be temporary strength. We have strong pushes on the euro. Yeah, it's any instrument can do this, and it's partly euro strength, but it's also partly Swiss franc weakness that we're seeing at the moment. Look at this downtrend. Nothing's changed from a fundamental perspective. So this is where we are, potentially somewhere around here before next leg. It's not unusual to come up and touch the 72, which is what we're doing at the moment, and it's 3 times in the last year we've broken above the 72 before starting next leg down. Nothing's changed. Inflation is still rising. They're still behind on interest rates. Everything's still the same. So there's no reason we should be suddenly looking at a complete shift the opposite direction on the euro, especially with the Swiss franc jumping on the rates as fast as it did. But, that's strong. Any strength coming into the Swiss franc, it will just plough straight through the euro. So that's good. And GU, obviously, I'm in this by accident, really, which is why I'm putting an aggressive position on at the moment. Still like it as a short, obviously. US dollar strength, pound weakness. This is just in a bit of an odd position at the minute from the government mishap. So we're back to where we were before, obviously, the drop started. So looking for that drop to continue. So this is basically just a V-shaped recovery. Yeah. So we should see next leg starting very, very soon on that one. There's lots of support resistance areas. We're tapping into this area now. You can see on the hourly. We've tapped this area a couple of times. We've now swept it, rejected it. If we get this bearish engulfing going in and giving us a reversal alert here, I think we may well get that move starting down today. Oh, they're back early, aren't they? Get outside. Didn't take long, did it? This morning. So yeah, so this area that we're in here is basically accumulation, this balance. Been multiple times it's been supported and resisted, so looks good. So how far we're going to get though, obviously, depends on what happens today. So we've got the Conservative Party conference today. Liz Truss has lost a lot of faith. The market's lost faith in her and her government. The party's lost faith in her and her government. She's got to come up with some rousing speech today to give the markets a little bit of faith that the government know what they're doing with this fiscal policy. We're not getting the fiscal policy until towards the end of this month. So she needs to reassure the markets. So the markets will be watching that speech very closely for any kind of hints as to what they're going to be doing from a fiscal policy. So we could get some serious movement off of the pound today. I can't see that she's going to say anything positive. I really can't, because she's got nothing positive to say. If they had a positive stance on the monetary policy and they had a way out of the mess that they've got themselves into, they would have said it by now. They haven't. And obviously this is why the market collapsed like this, and the bank had to bail them out. So sure. Don't forget, we've also got this afternoon a big catalyst on the US dollar. So we've got the non-farm employment change and we've got the PMIs this afternoon. So there's two potential catalysts to rally the dollar this afternoon as well. So we could get a nice big ADR day today. And, you know, as you can see, that's all I need and I'm out of this. But I don't know, I'm tempted to hold it because this thing's coming down at some point soon. Anyway, so there's those two covered for you. We're about to get an M5 reversal or short on GU. Are we? Yeah, that's on that liquidity run. So yeah, just move that entry down to break even. Just cover that. That's an aggressive position, so I'm just protecting that. Right, so start at the top. Aussie CAD. Just going to keep the weekly ranges up as well so we can see which way we're going on these. So Aussie rates came out as lower than expected, which isn't good for the currency typically because inflation is rising and they need to raise interest rates to get on top of inflation. And what they've done is not raised the rates in line with what the forecast was. So what they've basically done is say, we're all right. That was a really bad Australian accent, but we're all right, mate. You're not. You're definitely not all right. So the Aussie's been weak for a while, as we can see, and those rating announcements I don't think are going to help. So the move we've had obviously has been negative on the Aussie. We've hit the weekly range lows. So I wouldn't want to take a bounce on that at the moment. I'd rather get in short on it if we can get any extensions to the highs. So on the hourlies, if you can get any RSI extensions to the upside, you know, say if you want to drop this down to a 14 to try and get a little bit more of an aggressive entry, you know, try and get in at the highs. If we get any ADR hits to the upside on the Aussies, for example, they're worth getting into. So that one obviously is a short, but at the minute, and especially with the Canadian dollar, with potential oil production caps, we might get some strength coming off the CAD, but yeah, down on Aussie CAD. Aussie Swiss, same thing. Swiss franc is very, very strong at the moment. We've just had a reversal alert, which is retesting on the 4 hour. Had that nice move up off of that reversal alert, which is fine, but obviously we are in a massive downtrend on this one still as well. We hit the upside Easy to see here. We hit this weekly to the upside, which was a beautiful short entry, and it absolutely collapsed yesterday. Was a really, really nice trade. I took that one yesterday, didn't I? What did I take yesterday? Aussie US I took yesterday. So I took that Aussie US trade yesterday, which was just beautiful. Straight down, straight out. Thank you very much. Love those one hit days. So yeah, that was a lovely little trade on that one yesterday. But Aussie Swiss, the move and the drop all happened yesterday. So kind of missed that one, but looking to get in shorts on all these Aussies when you get any pushes to the upside. And I chose the Aussie US, and that one played out very nicely. Aussie yen is not extended. Yen's still confusion on the yens. I don't know quite what to do with this yen at the moment. I am shorting the euro yen at the minute, just with a single position. It's a little tester position to see what's happening with the yen, basically. I think we are going to get some strength coming through on the yen. There's quite hawkish comments coming out of the Bank of Japan at the moment. It's kind of a more aggressive stance, and I think the market is going to rally on it and is going to like it. So we should see some strength, I think, coming through on the yen pairs now. We'll find out tomorrow when Kuroda speaks exactly what's happening, and hopefully he'll rally the market and we'll get some moves. So Aussie yen obviously is just sitting in an accumulation down here at the moment. We're in a nice area of balance. Market's very happy to just continue doing business down here until it gets any catalysts to the other side. But not really one I'm interested in taking at the minute. Aussie New Zealand, looking for long opportunities in this. I was waiting for the New Zealand dollar rate to come out to see if we could get a push down into here, and it's just rejected it immediately. So we didn't get the 4-hour extension, but we did get into the zone that I want to get in. But obviously I completely missed the entry because I was asleep and it happened way too fast. You wouldn't have even got a reversal alert on it because of the speed of the move. You know, the reversal alert is here. That was just a complete collapse on the news. So I like it as a long. But I've kind of missed the entry on it. So we've got the other thing that's concerning me about this now is that rate on the Aussie wasn't as high as expected, which will be weaker for the Australian dollar. New Zealand has obviously done its job, put its rates up to where it should be, which is stronger for the New Zealand dollar. So there is potential for us to see more downside on this. So I'm not going to take this. I might regret it because the Aussie always trumps the New Zealand. As you can see, when we're in squeezes and times of financial trouble, the bigger economy always wins, which is why the US dollar is usually more powerful than everybody else. This is the bigger economy, obviously. So I think both being commodity-based pairs, we should just see this continue to grind up. And this is exactly where you want to get in and look for a challenge on those highs. It's just, and that's a lovely rejection candle. It just looks really good for a long opportunity, but kind of missed it. This is where I wanted to get in, down here. So I'm in two minds as to whether or not to get in it at the minute. I'm undecided now on the Australian dollar. And that New Zealand dollar should be stronger. When you get these big news spikes like this, that means something. Yeah, it means strength. Yeah, it may pull back, but then it will usually continue that move. So I'm looking for that kind of movement, which means I don't want to get in long yet because I think we've got more downside on this. So I'm going to monitor it. And if we can push back down towards these lows, back into this area of balance here, that's where I want to be in. But we'll see if it can get back down there. I mean, it's obviously just tapped straight into it and rejected, but too quick to get in. But if you want to get into that now, it's about 80 odd pips to that low, which is roughly an ADR. So if you were to get in now and wait until you get back down there for a second entry, you've got a very easy exit on it, haven't you? So it's not a problem, I don't think, getting into it now. And it could just go. These are lovely wicks. But I just get the feeling that New Zealand dollar move isn't over yet. CAD Swiss. Oh, sorry, I'll go through all of them anyway. Aussie US. Lovely wicks to the upside. on that. Not extended at all at the minute, but in a nice accumulation. Obviously, that's the trade I took yesterday. So yeah, lovely. Looks lovely for shorts. We're just waiting for some US dollar strength. So that area there was obviously a massive resistance. We've rejected it. Beautiful wicks on the 4 hour. Look at those. Yeah, that's where I was in yesterday when we took out those high. Buyers tried, rejected, tried again, pushed up, rejected, pushed up, rejected, pushed up, rejected. This thing is not interested in going higher. This area is not breaking. So looks lovely for shorts. Just an accumulation at the minute, but yeah, any short entry on that, lovely. Get into it. So you got a reversal alert there potentially on our break of yesterday's low. We'll give you a reversal alert on the hourly. So yeah, looks good for shorts. Aussie US. I was in it and out of it yesterday, so I'm done with it. CAD Swiss. Could get into it again though, obviously. CAD Swiss is obviously on its way down. Morning, Andy. We had that big move to the upside into the 24. That was your weekly range hit. We did 125 of our weekly range and pulled straight off of it very, very quickly. It's lovely when these get hit early on in the week. There's good opportunities to get into them. It's in a downtrend. We got extended on the 4 hour. That was your entry. You've kind of missed it. If you weren't in it, the entry was yesterday, and it's come down very nicely. But it's pulling back up now. So if you want to get back into this, wait for that to get hit, and then take the next reversal alert short. We pulled into that propulsion gap very nicely, but I think we can come down here and retarget that area, definitely. And beyond, basically. So this is, Swiss franc strength will always power up against anything. When the money starts flowing into the Swissy, it'll really go. But we have fairly weak Swiss franc at the minute, and potentially strengthening CAD. Anywhere in here, be interested in shorts, but you could get into that now, and this thing could just continue to tank from there. So I like it short, obviously. So any type of short entry on that, absolutely fine. But the entry, obviously, with the best entry that was yesterday. CAD yen, still don't know about these yens. I like them short. I still like them short now. I'm getting more and more convinced that tomorrow I should hopefully be fully convinced by Corona that we've got some strength coming through on these yen pairs. So I wouldn't take these bounces at the minute, but obviously we need some confirmation. So all these big bullish moves that we've had on the yen, I think now this was the announcement of the intervention. So we're just pulling back into these areas. And as I said, this is where I wanted to get in short. And I took the euro version because we pushed up higher on the euro. So all these, I think, good short opportunities. Anything basically apart from the US dollar should be shortable, specifically euro and pound, because they're the two weaker ones at the moment. And it was the Aussie and the New Zealand. I still think the Aussie, but the New Zealand not quite so nice now. So Swiss yen, lovely entry there. Yes, not yesterday. Last week. Was it last week? Yeah, on Friday. Good entry on Friday, coming up into that propulsion gap. So yeah, looks good for shorts still. And just gradually, aiming back down for that 72, and then we'll see what happens when we get down into the previous area of balance and see if we reject it again. I suspect this time we'll get into it, and then we'll start to break down from there. Euros, all the euros basically had big strong moves yesterday. Not quite sure where all this strength is coming from with the euros, but it is there. There's a lot of stuff that's weak at the moment as well, obviously, so it's taking advantage of that fact, and it's getting good pushes. Lots of hits on the euros. We've got lots of euro RSI extensions, as you can see. So there's decent mean reversion opportunities on all these euro pairs. They're moving very nicely. All these pushes are getting nice profit take moves off of them. So there's good opportunities to get into any of these euros on any kind of extension to the upside, any ADR hits to the upside, any RSI extensions on hourlies and that sort of stuff. So there's good opportunities to get into these. Bias overall is short, but at the moment we are bullish. So we're having some short-term strength. This one just got up to these highs with what happened with the Australian dollar rates yesterday. Obviously, weak Aussie, bit of strength, and we got a big push up. Morning, Steve. Sunny Spain. So yeah, good opportunity for shorts there at the top of that range, and obviously playing it back down somewhere eventually down to there. We need to see what happens with this. It's a lot stronger than I was expecting it to be, the euro. But they're all, they're all moving very, very nicely, the euros up and down. So if you get into it, you're going to get an opportunity to get out of it. It's just a case of making sure you keep your distance on these nice at the moment, because it's fairly strong. We just had a reversal out on the pound US dollar. 15. Oh, no, we didn't. Almost had one. M5, we got it just. So we are pulled down. We want to break this Asian low. So yeah, euro odd, like it as a short from where it is. That's a lovely resistance basically that we're just coming up into now. So just taking that out. So we should get a drop back down, at least into that propulsion gap. If not, come back and retest this area down here. And obviously, we could go higher from here. Now that we've got a weaker Australian dollar, well, we've got a weaker rate, and we need to see what the market makes of that, whether that's all factored in or not. But looks good for shorts at the moment where we are. We're nicely extended on the 4 hour. Euro CAD, again, same sort of thing. We've got nice potential liquidity run just gone on. It's all stalling now. We're getting these big strong pushes, but it's been undone. Potentially strength coming through on the Canadian dollar, but this one is a massive weak move to the downside. Obviously, we've with all these, 2472 is there to show you what the long-term trend is on the the monthly, quarterly trend. But you're going to get spurts where you're going to break above on these downtrends and obviously then continue. So again, nothing's changed with the euro. The euro, although they are increasing their interest rates, they are still behind inflation, the same as everybody else. And it's a case of who can beat inflation first, who's going to win. So, with these euros, if they're doing better with their rates than some of these others, then yeah, they are going to get temporary pushes. But overall, the economy in Europe is weaker than most. So we should see downside, and obviously any extensions you get to the upside, as I took that euro, you can just get in and get out. So that was the one I took yesterday, Euro CAD. Yesterday? Monday. That was Monday's short. So yeah, like it as a short still. There was an opportunity to get in yesterday on that one. Nice reversal and retest. And straight up into yesterday's high. Beautiful textbook. So like that one as a short as well. Euro Swiss. This is one I've just got into. So I'm in Euro Swiss short now. This is very extended. This is my favorite at the minute. We're well up into the sort of high 70s RSI extension. We're just coming up into this area here. We're teetering on the 72. We've got another area up there within an ADR today that we may well make a run for. If we do, obviously, I'll just scale into it as we get up into there. But if we do get up into there, this is one hell of a parabolic move with no profit take whatsoever. All we've literally done is push, accumulate, push, accumulate, push, potentially accumulate, push. Not one profit take move. No, there's not been one pullback. That's there. So if we can get up to there and take that liquidity, with no profit take move, we're going to get the mother of all pullbacks on this thing. So this thing's coiled, ready to go. I get the feeling this is probably exhaustion level here. I think we're going to need, and even if the euro was to be strong, and we are looking at a bullish turn on the euro, you've got to pull back to get up there. You've got to pull back to get some orders, to get some power up there. So, but personally, I think we should still see the Swiss franc beating this long term. And as I say, we're just, potentially going to get a little pop above the 72, and then continuation to the downside. All trends have to come to an end at some point, but usually there's a fundamental reason why it should, and there isn't with the euro at the minute. Euro pound has been taken advantage of, obviously, this pound weakness. Now the pound's strengthened back up. We're back down here again. 160 ADR now. We were talking 48 on this last week before. So, as you can see, normal price action for the pound is this, pound euro. We should just carry on doing that now, moving forward. But obviously, anything can happen on the pound at the minute, really could. So it's difficult to trade this. I don't have a bias on the euro pound. It's a sideways beast. So I don't really have a bias long or short. I'm not sure which of these is the stronger of the two weaknesses at the minute. So I'm not really interested in euro pound. There's much better euro pairs out there to trade, and there's much better pound pairs out there to trade. But if you do want to take this at the moment, it looks like a nice little long opportunity. And we are expecting potentially some weakness on the pound to continue. So where we were with that RSI extension on the 4 hour and that reversal alert, that's basically your entry, but it's just not going anywhere. This is what it does all the time. It sits there sideways and hardly moves. So it's not the easiest pair to make money out of. So I would kind of ignore it. Euro yen, I'm in short. So this is my favorite yen pair at the moment. We're nicely extended on this euro strength. We're expecting some yen strength to come through. This is exhausted. It's at exhaustion levels. It's back up at these highs. It's just taken that liquidity. It's just teetering on the edge of a drop, I think. But we need some strength to come through from this yen. So hopefully tomorrow morning we'll get that when Kuroda speaks. And that will give us that kick on the yen. I've got no TP set on this. It's just a case of let's see where we can get to and how fast we can get there. As I say, at the moment, just TPs are pointless at the minute. A lovely reversal on the pound now. We're just approaching the lows of Asia. So just coming down to test the Asian lows. See if we can get that break and that pop. So yeah, euro yen in my short, not gone anywhere since I got in. Just sitting there going sideways at the minute. So we'll wait and see what happens on that. Like it long term now as a short. As you can see, this has been one of the weaker yens when you look at all the yen pairs. Yeah, they're all very nice and trendy, big, long moves. The euro yen has been the weakest against the euro has been the weakest against the yen, even in these times when we've had a very, very weak yen. So this is my preferable short because this is the weakest of the lot. So if we're going to get the biggest movement to the downside, it's likely to be in either this or in the pound yen, which has also been incredibly weak, ignoring this up here. But everything else, yeah, it's still very, very weak. So euro yen and pound yen, my favorite shorts. We're nicely extended on this one at the minute. So we've had some nice exhaustion on the euro, which is likely to have a little bit of a pullback and a rest. And if we can get that yen strength at the same time, we should get a very nice downward movement on this one. So in short on that one already. Euro New Zealand, again, off to the races on that one because we've had such a weak New Zealand dollar. New Zealand dollar, obviously, we had that strength off of the news, which has all waned, all disappeared. So not quite sure on this. I like it as a short. We've just made a new lower high. And we hit that support there. So we are potentially contracting. If this can break and get that reverse alert in, I think there's a chance that we might see some strength coming through on this one, on the New Zealand dollar, and a pullback at least into the 24.72 zone. But we need this euro to stop its little run at the minute. So difficult one to trade this. It was a nice short there. It's been embedded. This is the one that I got into and got out of, and just basically closed it out with a loss because it didn't seem to be stopping, and it was the New Zealand dollar's fault. The euro had strength, but the New Zealand dollar had absolutely nothing, and this just got run away with. The perfect sort of storm situation. So I got out of it. But we are now seeing good signs of potential strength coming through on the New Zealand dollar. So there's a good chance that this one's going to start to come down now. You just got to be a bit careful with it because it could just go into an accumulation. Yeah, remember what happens with the moving averages? One of two things happens. We either get a pullback to the moving average and a continuation, or we get an accumulation and we wait for the moving average to catch up to push. So we're not sure what's going to happen. This is a good example of it. The moving average, you get this we go into an area of balance and the MA gets down on top and it just sort of pushes price back down for a next leg. That could well happen and push up on this one, obviously, if we get continuation strength on this euro. But I can't see this being a continuation. I think this is just temporary pullback on these euros and we continue short. So if the New Zealand is going to power up off the back of that rate announcement and we are getting exhaustion on the euro, this is a good spot to start getting into it. But the entry was kind of last week on it. Actually, well, yeah, Friday, Monday. So, but we haven't gone anywhere, have we? So, you can get into it now. So that looks good. Euro, US dollar, same as all the others. US dollar strength, euros, again, push, accumulation, push. Unlikely, more likely. And it's just starting to roll over now. So we've got that US dollar strength coming in. Pound US dollar's just bouncing off of the Asian lows. Let's see if we get this pop through the bottom. Just want to see all the stop orders here getting eaten up and rally for it rather than reject it. Just been stopped out my DAX position. So that DAX short I had on, we're taking the highs. Okay, just running on that low again. Struggling. There we go. There's a pop through. So we'll see if we can hold this here. We're likely to get either an accumulation or a pullback from here. But we certainly got through there. So we're eating all the liquidity of everybody's longs so far today. We might get a bit of a pullback on this. So pound, obviously, think about what's happening today. We've got non-farm employment and PMI on the US dollar this afternoon. Basically, anybody that's entered the market today, at any point, is now out. Yeah. So anybody that was short has been liquidated here. Anybody that was long has just been liquidated there. So the market has basically got everybody now, got all orders. So it's free to move in either direction on that news. So it will be interesting to see which way we go. Quite possibly we'll get a pullback into mid-range now ahead of the news, and then obviously we'll get that movement coming out of the news. So interesting to see which way that one goes. Where was up to? Euro yen, Euro New Zealand, Euro US. Also. So Euro US, we've got this parity level, which we're back up to, and we've tapped into it to the pip. Straight into one, and now they're selling off of one again. So if you think about what we're doing here, this is why I'm quite happy with my pound US dollar short as well. Think about what we've done with the euro. Obviously, the euro, US dollar is a massive short. Like I said, in times of crisis, the bigger currency tends to come to the forefront and nothing really can beat it. Euro obviously has had a little bit of strength, and this is just a pullback into the 24.72 area. We pulled into parity, got a bounce, went into balance, unsure which direction to go, came back down, had a run at it, slammed through it, and then we tried to break back through and the market wouldn't have it. Yeah, we finally got a push through, came back, we're unsure again at parity, and then we flashed. So we are happy now below that level. This is the first retest of parity since we broke down. Highly likely we're going to get a strong reaction from that. So good looking short position to take there right now. You've had the reversal at M15 in the retest, and it's obviously starting to drop now. This could well be, we're not interested, off we go. We might have a couple of runs at that. We don't know. It's difficult to tell. But with all the news coming through this afternoon on the US dollar, there's a good chance if we get some good strong numbers coming out of the US, this thing's just going to collapse today and we'll see a move straight back down into this area of balance. So it's a lovely looking short opportunity on Euro US dollar. And obviously pound US dollar should do the same thing. And with the pound US dollar, what we're aiming for is parity, aren't we? We're not far. We thought, this is why I've got these positions on here. This was my initial position when we started this drop. These were meant to be add-on positions on the way down, and that Monday sell-off got me into them and obviously got me straight into drawdown on them because I wasn't expecting to get those on like that. I was expecting to get those on like that. But this is where we're headed, I think. So hopefully that Euro-US move is going to fuel the fire for US dollar strength, and we'll get that coming down hard today as well. So good looking short opportunities on this one. We're lovely. It's just textbook. It's just such a beautiful, you know, when you look at a system or a strategy, and when you see those perfect examples, which rarely come along, obviously, because that's not the way it works, but the perfect examples of, you pull back into resistance, which was previous support, when you've got an RSI extension, and then we get the continuation move to the downside. It's just absolutely textbook. So we will see. Obviously, textbook things are what tend to fail, aren't they? You know, the head and shoulders pattern is the biggest failing pattern out there. But everyone takes the perfect head and shoulders and goes, that's what happens. What you see most of the time, though, with a head and shoulders pattern is that liquidity run on the shoulder, because it knows damn well everybody's going short there and everybody's stops are going to be there. So that's exactly what they do. They take you out. You see way more failed head and shoulders than you will anything else. And you'll also see way more failed support resistance bounces, because the market knows what it's doing. It's just accumulating everybody's orders here. But you can't argue the fact that we hit that to the pip. It's a psychological level. Yeah. Banks, institutions talk about if we get back up to parity, we'll sell it. So they're just saying if we get to one, sell. And there's enough of them doing it to make it happen. And they'll be selling it back down to 98.5 or something. This is why round numbers work, because the institutions don't muck about with going, we're going to take it to that exact level. They will take it to a round number, and they'll make sure they get to that round number. This is why round numbers are so effective as support resistance levels. So very good opportunity there on the Euro-US. Nice extension. Pound odd. Again, we know all these pounds. I'll whiz through the pounds, but we know what's going on with them. Complete confusion everywhere with the pound at the minute as to what's going on. And Liz Truss is hopefully going to reassure, or, well, what I'm hoping for is that she doesn't reassure the market and the market just goes, nah, sod it, I'm selling the pound. So we'll see what happens today, but there's news on it. And at the moment, the market seems pretty bearish with the pound leading up to that Conservative Party conference. So down, everything pound. Everything pound is extended, as we can see. So if you look at the RSIs on the 4 hour, it's not quite as lit up as it was. This was a lot more lit up yesterday. Everything was red yesterday. So everything pushed up. Every pound basically is an opportunity for a short on the RSI, or has been an opportunity for a short on the RSI right now. So we are massively extended on all of these pounds at the minute. So kind of pick the one you want. They're all this move is a lot stronger on some of these. Obviously, the Australian dollar, for example, this isn't just the pound strength undoing that V-shaped recovery there. This is the Australian dollar being weak at the same time as we've got the pound, and the pound has basically just overshot the line. If you think of think of a running race, 100-meter dash. You've got the start line and the finish line. They don't finish at the finish line, do they? They run on and they slow down and they stop about here. This is basically that V-shaped recovery petering out. Yeah, like an aeroplane stalling. That's what I'm expecting to happen with the pound. It's just overshot a lot of these levels because it's had momentum. People have been buying the hell out of the pound. But, everyone's soon going to realise that nothing's changed. Yeah, we've just had a lot of really stupid decisions made by the government, which has cost them an absolute fortune. We've had to have the bank bailing the government out. The government now has even more debt at an even higher interest rate and no plans to get out of it. Well, no plans that they've told us about. And they're not telling us about these plans for another 4 weeks. The market's not going to be happy with this. So unless Liz comes out today and says something dramatic, I think today is the start of the movement down on all these pound pairs. So pick a pair, any pair. Pound New Zealand and pound odd. Possibly not the pound odd, but I mean it's coming down pretty nicely. But yeah, pound odd and pound New Zealand, probably your weaker ones. Pound US dollar, pound Swiss, pound CAD, probably the better ones to take at the minute. Just had German S&P PMIs come out. Slightly down. Exciting. Okay. Ever so slightly down. I read up on Larry Williams after you talked about it in the last few days, and I came across the ultimate oscillator. What's the difference to the RSI? I found to spot divergences easier on the RSI. I've never really used... Do you mean the awesome oscillator? Not the ultimate oscillator. Awesome oscillator. I don't know. Pick an oscillator. Pick an oscillator. Any oscillator. They all kind of do the same thing. And the trouble with oscillators, whichever one you decide to pick, have a look at them. He talks about the ultimate oscillator. Is that Williams percent R? Ultimate. Does he? He does, doesn't he? Yes. You're right. You're right. Well, for a start, that oscillator is to do with stocks. So I don't think it'll work. But yeah, you can share a link in the YouTube. But any trouble with any oscillator is any oscillator can be fine-tuned to work better historically. And if you change the oscillator's configuration, you will always find a better way to get into it. But oscillators are... I don't know what you've shared there, Ladder, but that's a file of some kind on your D drive with an HTML extension. I don't know what that is. I don't think that'll work. But all oscillators are... Everything you see here, instrument indicator-wise, was developed on stocks. And this is why everybody talks about overbought and oversold. So if you're using it on a stock index, for example, then yes, it has a relevance of being overbought and oversold. And whichever oscillator you decide to use will have some relevance and will be able to be fine-tuned to be a decent tool to show you oversold and overbought levels. With FX pairs, there's no, and we've had this conversation on Monday, there's no tangible, or was it yesterday? There's no tangible object here. There's nothing to buy or sell. It's an exchange rate. It's not a stock that has been overbought or oversold. Yeah, the term oversold means there's too much selling on that stock. Therefore, the stock price is devalued too much based on the company, which means that the stock comes back up because people buy it because it's cheaper than the company valuation. So these work much better on stock indices, and divergences work better on stock indices as well. And obviously on stocks, that's what they're designed for. And Larry was a stock trader. He was a futures and options trader. Still is. Talking about in past tense, he's not one of the ones that's gone. So I would say look at it. And, you know, I use the RSI because I find the RSI, for me and the type of trading I do, the speed of it is good. And it doesn't get me in too early most of the time. It doesn't get me in too late most of the time. The ultimate, try it. See what it does and see how fast it works and fine tune it. If you want to use that, fine. You can use any indicator you like as a market condition. These are just market condition indicators. Oscillators are market condition indicators. They tell you the current condition of the market, whether there's been too much movement in one direction or the other. And, you know, there is no such thing as too much movement, as we know. We can get embedded and squeeze, yeah? That's not an embedded and squeeze, is it? But, you know, we've been extended multiple times on this, but, it's, you know, it's in a downtrend, we know that. But that doesn't mean it can't continue going. It just means that it's likely that the people that have made this get from there to there are going to take profit on their moves. And this is what I'm using this for. If the ultimate oscillator does the same thing for you, do it, use it. The main thing, Larry Williams, and this brought us onto this conversation about this, the strat, as they call it, by Rob, whatever his name is, can't remember his name. Those are just price action. Larry Williams was a price action trader. He used the RSI, and he used the RSI too, I believe, on the daily on the S&P, and to make a lot of money. But he had lots of bar configurations, like what he called smash bars, which are basically just down days. And down days, after down days, i.e. lots and lots of selling, comes lots of buying. Yeah, smash day to the upside means there's been too much buying, therefore there'll be selling. So when you get a smash bar that takes the RSI extended on the 2, you sell it. Very, 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 very simple strategy, Larry Williams. There's only a couple of strategies: inside bars, smash days. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Works fantastically on stocks. Works amazingly on the S&P when the S&P is trending. Not at the moment. Doesn't work at all. If you try and use any of Larry Williams' strategies now, you will get ripped to shreds. It's designed for a normal stock market rally, bull market, or a normal stock market decline, a normal bear market. We don't really get bear markets, do we? The stock market, because stocks go up. We get bear markets, but bear markets are huge, volatile, horrible, nasty messes. Bull markets are nice and clean. Larry Williams, if you use any of Larry Williams' strategies in his book on the daily time frame on the S&P when we're in a bull market, you will make money. And that is essentially what I was doing, what my investment account does, my pension account does. I am literally just trading Larry Williams' strategies. I'm buying the dips on smash days, as he calls them, on RSI extensions. That's literally all I did. And, you know, in that period there, I grew my account by a lot. But then this happened and I stopped. And I haven't been trading it, which is why I've been looking into Larry Williams again and trying to find the use for it on lower time frames, but it's difficult. Are they only in his book, or did you get the course? No. I don't think Larry's got a course, has he? If you've got the book, you don't need the course. That book, Long-Term Secrets to Short-Term Trading, is the course. I can't. Larry's got nothing more to teach. That's it. If you read that book, you know how to trade stocks. You don't need to do anything else. One thing he doesn't talk about in that book is exit strategies. He has got a course, has he? Yeah, I don't know. Go and have a look at it. You know, like I said, I'm I'm an advocate of courses. Do courses. Do as many courses as you can. Squeeze as much knowledge into your brain as you possibly can. And soak up everything. You know, if you get one thing out of Larry Williams's course that makes sense, use it. But as I've said many times, the way that I trade, the way that Larry Williams trades, the way that Rob, whoever trades that does the strat, the way ICT trades, the way that anybody trades is not going to be suitable for you because that's the way they trade. Trading is something personal. You can't. You give 100 people the same strategy, you get 100 different results. So you take what you can out of the bits that make sense to you and you put your own together, which is exactly what I've done. But yeah, do as many courses as you can. I don't know what Larry Williams's course is. I don't know what Larry Williams course. I really trade. Is that it? So it's all based around a Dow, stocks. Here he is. Honestly, I don't think you'll get much more out of that than you would from the book. The books, if you were to, for example, Google long-term secrets to short-term trading.pdf, I'm pretty sure you might find a copy of it online. Yeah, I don't know. Sees futures and stocks. Everything he will teach you will be about trading stocks and trading futures. But again, everything in this course right now, yeah, everything that he will teach you will be based on that market condition. Yeah. Every strategy in stocks will struggle to find a way to make money out of this. So just be aware. Yeah. If you go and suddenly, you know, I've tested this. I've built the Smash Day EA. I've built loads of EAs. This is what I do. I'm building one for the strat at the moment because I was looking into it and I wanted to test the validity of it. And again, another one of those brilliant courses for $600, and it's completely mechanical. You put those mechanical rules into an EA, it doesn't make money. It's because you have to have a trader doing it. But I've got loads in here. I've got Smash Day EA, which if you put this on the S&P or the Dow or anything really, on the daily chart, I don't know how that's set up, but it makes money in certain market conditions. If we go back to last year, this thing will, it will do all right. It'll make money when we're in this kind of market. I don't even know if I've got the EA set properly. Well, that was a smash day and it didn't take a trade. There we go. It'll make money. I've got all the settings wrong on this, but inside bar breakout, smash days, first profitable close trades, all that sort of stuff. It'll do all of it. And it works really well in a bull market. You test this year, it dies, absolutely dies. The strategy doesn't work. So you just got to be very careful with any course that you take. You'll find it really interesting, but you'll be very disappointed when you go and try and put it into action at the moment. This is not normal market conditions at all. We've got a war going on. We've got an energy crisis. We're paying for COVID. We've got the biggest recession we've had in 30 years. This is not... Smash days aren't going to work at the moment. Smash days to the upside are not working at the moment. RSI 2 isn't working at the minute. There's a lot of stuff that's not working at the minute. So, anyway, sorry, digressed. But yeah, go do it. If you want to do it, though, do it. You know, I love courses are brilliant. I love courses. It's just the courses which are $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, run a mile. Run a mile. If you see a course for $200, do it. It's a couple of $100. Do it. If you take 5 $200 courses, you'll learn 5 times as much as you will taking a $1,000 course. Because that $1,000 course won't teach you much different. Like I said, there's only 3 things you need to know about the market. It moves sideways, it moves up, it moves down. We don't know when, how high, or how low. That's the main thing you need to get out of any course. Got no idea. Basically, you get in and you get out. How you get in and get out is entirely up to you. You can use this, you can use the awesome oscillator, you can use the ultimate oscillator, you can use the moving average, you can use the reversal alerts, you can use ADR, use what you like. But at the end of the day, the market's going to go where it's going to go, and the only thing that's going to make you money is having a higher risk reward on your trades so that your losses are smaller, or position trading the waves. Those are the only 2 ways I've ever found to make money. And the first one, where you get stopped out 10 times in a row and hop from system to system to system to system because it doesn't work, is the one that loses everybody money. Position trading, where you get in when it's extended and wait for it to come back down again, is the only thing I've found for the vast majority of people that ever works. And Larry will teach you not to use a stop. Funny, isn't it? The guy that made this amazing system 30 years ago in the stock market, he didn't use stop losses. One of the most famous, successful traders in the world, still going today, doesn't use a stop loss. Food for thought, isn't it? And his exit strategy is mainly first profitable close. So I will get in to something and I will wait for it to get into profit and I will get out. He never talks about getting stopped out on anything. He does, but he doesn't use a stop. His smash bar strategy on the S&P 500 is basically extension, down day, buy, get out as soon as you're in profit. Yeah, smash day, get in. Let's do it on here, right? Smash day, get in with a buy. Smash day, get in with a buy. Smash day, get in with a buy. First profitable close, exit. Out of that one. First profitable close, exit. Out of that one. First profitable close, exit. Out of that one. That's Larry Williams' strategy. What's he doing? Exactly what I do, just in a slightly different way. And if you had to summarize his book, Long-Term Secrets to Short-Term Trading, it would be get in without a stop, yeah, when the market's extended, and get out when you've got money in there, and don't trade short time frames. And his book teases you by saying the long-term secrets to short-term trading, and yet the actual outcome of the book is don't do short-term trading because it doesn't work. Go figure. Which is why we're sitting here right now looking at the 4-hour time frame and everything. Anyway, I'll carry on. We're going off on a waffle. I do love Larry Williams' book. It's brilliant. It's one of those, the 2 books you need to read are Larry Williams' Long-Term Secrets, which will teach you about not trading short term. And you need to read Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas to teach you about the psychology of trading, which is basically you got no control over the market. Just get in and get out and take whatever it gives you. Both of them are very, 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 very successful traders. And yet neither of them give you a strategy for getting in and out of the market because there isn't a strategy. Basically, the strategy is to get in and get out when you've got money, not to get in with a stop loss, take 1,000 cuts to your account until you're down to 50% of it and then double it, which is what everybody does. Yeah, if you read those 2 books, it just tells you how to do it. It tells you everything you need to know. But because there's no strategy in there, do this when that happens and do that when this happens, nobody likes it because they don't understand how to trade. That's the unfortunate truth. Carry on. Pound odd. So the pounds, obviously, all of them I've covered these, haven't I? Have I done pounds? I'm sorry, I'm waffling and moving around this morning. But yeah, all the pounds extended, as we know. good opportunities to get into all of these, and potentially nice drops on the cards. We've broken the Asian and retested. Nice 3-bar reversal, push, pull. And again, in this, any of you that have studied the strat, this is a 2-2 reversal. What I call, and again, it's same thing, you know, the guy that teaches the strat calls this a 2-2 reversal. Yeah, I call this a 3-bar reversal. It's just another name for the same thing. You know, all these oscillators tell you the same thing. This candlestick pattern, call it what you like. It's a reversal. It's a 3-bar reversal. Push, pause, pull. 2-2 reverse. Yeah, so it all does the same stuff. Again, so just go and read everything you can, but just identify that everything's telling you the same thing in a different way. So yeah, all coming down pounds. New Zealand's confusion at the moment. So I'm really, I want to see what the market does with the New Zealand dollar. With that rate announcement yesterday, I would have expected a bit of strength. We've not got it. We got a massive rejection to, and we're still getting another one at the moment here, to any upward momentum on the New Zealand dollar. So I suspect that the rates that they've done with the 0.5%, I suspect that what the market is thinking is, yeah, that's what we thought you were going to do, and we're not happy with what you're doing, therefore that's not really having a positive impact. So I just want to see what happens with the New Zealand dollar. If that rate announcement means it's going to continue to drop, then again, we'll be looking for short opportunities on everything, on the New Zealand dollar, everything against the New Zealand dollar, we're looking to buy it. But I want to see some confirmation on it. At the moment, everything looks massively bearish, obviously. So New Zealand dollar yen, if that is the case, that will be a good sell as well. So again, New Zealand dollar yen, you know, we were talking about the pairs which haven't been performing very well against the yen. New Zealand dollar has been one of those, obviously, as you can see, really struggled. When everything else was rallying massively against the yen, we were in a sort of contracting symmetrical triangle, which has just broken to the downside. So, yeah, not looking good for that. New Zealand dollar, US dollar, obviously, as we know, is a massive downward momentum. So carry on as usual, not looking to mean revert this. You can, and it will probably work, but there's much more chance of you getting squeezed if you long it. So I am interested in shorting up here at the moment. US dollar CAD. All right, so this is in the spot that I was looking for. I haven't got, I've got pound US dollar short on at the minute, so I don't want to take any more US dollar exposure on. But this is what I was looking for from the US dollar CAD. So we got the 4-hour reversal alert, which has obviously given us that downward momentum. I was looking to get in somewhere down here, ideally. So I wanted to see an RSI extension. We haven't quite got it. It didn't quite get far enough. I think we got an hourly on it. Yeah. So we had an hourly entry on it yesterday, and overnight we had an entry on it. So you could have taken an H1 M5, which is what the EA is doing, is trading H1 M5. So you would have got that alert this morning and got into that one. It didn't quite get deep enough for me, and I've got the pound US dollar short on anyway, so I'm not too worried about missing this. But yeah, it looks good for longs. Obviously the caveat at the moment is we might see some strength coming through on the Canadian dollar, so it might find it a little bit more difficult to get that upward momentum. US dollar Swiss, again, is an absolute mess at the moment. I really don't know what to do with this thing, so I'm not doing anything with it. It's up and down like crazy, and at the moment we're just in a big accumulation here with no directional bias whatsoever. We're literally sitting within an ADR. So if you look at the high and the low of this current range, it's 240. So it's 2 ADR, sorry. So you know, we're just sitting within a couple of ADR, deciding which direction to go. You know, we've got these odd lows, we've got these odd highs. You know, it's just a right old mess. So if we get extensions to the upside, Yes, probably. And if we get extensions to the downside, then look for longs. But right now, where we are at the moment, we're kind of in the middle of this messy range. So it's very difficult to make a decision on trading that in either direction. And US dollar yen, I wouldn't want to touch with a barge pole at the moment. Expecting US dollar strength and expecting yen strength. So as far as I'm concerned, this thing's probably just going to continue to flatline. Or it's just going to get those wild swings started if we get some yen strength coming through. But no real directional bias on it. So again, US dollar has done very, very well against the weak yen. This is the primary reason why the Bank of Japan is intervening. 145. We were down at 1, pretty much. Yeah, you look at it on the daily chart. This is why the Bank of Japan has intervened. Yeah, we were quite happily trading sort of 115 to $1. Yeah. We're now at 145, what did we get up to? 145, 146. Can't have that. Bank of Japan can't have that. It's everybody that transacts in Japan transacts with America. They manufacture tons of stuff and they ship it to the US. They need the dollar down against the yen. So I wouldn't want. I think that, to get this down, that's got to be a massive intervention, isn't it? We're likely to have a strong dollar moving forward against all the other currencies being weak. So to get this thing down from here is going to take a hell of a lot of power on the yen's side. So when you think of if that is their main goal over the next year or so is to bring this down, imagine what's going to happen to the weak currencies like the pound yen and the euro yen. Yeah, that thing's going to come crashing down at an absolute rate of knots, isn't it? Fast. I think we've got some good movements down, but the US dollar yen wouldn't be my vehicle of choice to trade the yen at the minute, because you're likely to get a lot more balance on it as the sort of power struggle between those two. But again, this is all speculation based on Bank of Japan actually managing to do something about this. You can intervene as much as you like. Look at what happens when the Bank of England intervened. Yeah, intervention has a big impact. But intervention has stopped on the Bank of England now. So what do we think we're going to do? Yeah. So, we've had Bank of Japan intervention. If they don't continue to continuously intervene, it's not going to do that, is it? So we need to see what their stance is and how they're going to do all of this. And we haven't really had all the facts yet on it. So we'll see. Right. Well, that's everything. Okay. So a few opportunities out there. How's the pound US dollar doing? Yeah. So new lows got in. So we're breaking the Asian. We've retested and we're pushing down now into this propulsion gap. So this potentially we might have some buyers stepping in here. But 115 this afternoon, obviously, we're going to get hopefully some strength off the US dollar. And if we can get decent PMI as well, we could have a really good day on the pound US today. So if we can get down to these lows, I'll be a very happy bunny today. ADR will be absolutely perfect. We will see. Anybody got anything else they want to cover? Anything else they want to discuss? Indicators, all that sort of stuff? Happy to talk about stuff. Anything to do with trading? Our adult trading, our adult site. See, it just spans 1, 2, 3. Spans a few times, doesn't it? And then it runs off. Don't understand what they're. Well, I do understand. Obviously, it's just marketing. But what's your pick of the day today? If I could only trade one, well, my pick of the day was the pound US dollar or the euro yen. I guess you kind of missed it. We haven't missed it. Euro yen hasn't actually broken the lows yet, so. But I mean, for initial entries, any of these euros basically, are very, very extended, and we've got this move we've had has been massively strong, and after a big strong move like that, you will usually get at least a pullback. Yeah, look at what we've got. This is the type of move that we have had with very little profit taking in it. So we'll get a profit take move. We'll more than likely get a complete reversal on it, coming back down to retest this level. But at best, we're going to get, at worst, we're going to get pull back down into support, I would imagine, and come back down and retest this area. The pound US dollar as well, very extended. Euro US dollar, very extended. But these, we've started rolling over on these already. So I don't really have a pick of the day. My style of trading is get in when things are exhausted and wait and see what happens. So it's and this is what the RSI dash is for, is like, what do I need to be looking at today? You've got to have tools to speed up your trading. And, this is why stock scanners and stock screeners have always been there. We don't have Forex screeners. This is why we build Forex screeners to partially automate. So I can open this up and just go, right, well, this is what I need to look at today. That's likely to start happening. Now, if it doesn't happen, it's going to get even worse, even more extended, even more stretched, and then spring back even faster. They're back again now. Do you think they're targeting me because they know that I'm continuously reporting them and making no impact whatsoever? Who went off to that channel the other day? Was it Andy or Alan? Someone? I can't remember. What was it like? Any good? Did you chat to any nice Russian or Ukrainian ladies? Has your credit card been cloned yet? Right, so that's all I've got for you today. That's you get stopped, people. This stops. Yeah, stop it. Stops. Stops. Look. So we are getting the pullback. There's my target, or was my target, before they so rudely stopped me out of the position. So we've got the break of the opening range low. Trying to get into that, tricky. So yeah, a pullback. If I see a pullback on this, I shall get in short. If we can get a pullback into the opening range lows, I'll get in there. I might put a pending order there, actually. What was I trading this with? 1.28, that's too big. I'm going to put 0.5 on it. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to go with the smaller position on this. I'm not going to get... no, wait, go 0.5. I'm going to get super greedy. So I'm just putting a pending order up there. So if we can get a pullback and come and retest this area here, somewhere around there, I'll get in one short. But this thing's coming down fast and hard, so I'm not sure that we're going to get an option to get in there again. Bit annoying. Wasn't watching that. Should have been trading that on the funded account. I didn't take it this morning. Never mind. Tempted to just hit the sell button, to be honest. I'm going to try one short 650 with 0.5%. Obviously, I'm getting in at a very, very bad place here, potentially, because we haven't had a pullback on this move yet. So it's highly likely we're going to pull back. But what I'm going to look for is the 2050 moving averages to act as a resistance on it, in which case then I'll get on with another position there and see if I can get that drop. I'm willing to take 0.5% to 1% risk on that, because I think we've got a good chance. Look at the parabolic move on the S&P. Yeah, this thing's exhausted. They're all exhausted. And we've obviously got the gap fill on the DAX as a potential as well. So fairly decent stop on it, but if it breaks back up inside the opening range, there is obviously a potential for a move back up to the upside. So this will all get affected by the news as well. Non-farm employment will affect that this afternoon at 1:15, and then I'll see half an hour after market open, we'll get the PMI figures, which will affect both of these as well. But target on it is down in the gap, the DAX, which is over an ADR now. So this is a sort of position if we get this position on and it works and we do start to drop and get down to here, I'll get a break even on this between those two. The break even will go to there roughly, and then I'll hopefully may hit that tomorrow if we don't get it today. We'll see. That's really annoying. Got stopped out on that. Idea worked. Just, for execution. Never mind. That's the most annoying thing about trading, isn't it? This is what I keep saying. Timing. Yeah. Idea. Perfect. Timing. Impossible to tell. Impossible to time. The market. Market will go when the market wants to go. Look at that entry. Terrible. Going to get our first green candle. That is a really bad entry, but there's our second opening range gone in as well. So that's an hour and a half from the open. So we're likely to start pulling back from here, which will be I'll get that second position on. I'll see. I'll update you on that one, but I don't want to miss this move. If we're going to get one of these parabolic moves where we just literally go into accumulation drop, accumulation drop, accumulation drop, I don't want to miss it if it's going to go for the gap today. So, right, okay, I will see you guys tomorrow morning, same time, 7:50. If you need anything, come in the Telegram group. I'll be in there as usual. And yeah, we'll see how we get on with these today. Be aware of the news, obviously. We're going to get some potential volatility this afternoon, and obviously be very careful with oil. I will be getting into an oil position. So yeah, I will be getting into oil at the moment there. So I've got the EA running and it's taking M5 reversal alerts along. So whatever happens with oil today, I will be getting into a position on that at some point. If it pushes, I will be getting in. But ideally what I'd like it to do today is just grind its way down towards ADR and then get that push off of oil in some OPEC announcement today at some point. All right, guys. So have a good one. I will see you tomorrow morning, same time. And come in the Telegram group if you need anything. I'll see you then.